Welcome to the Roy Anthony and every Tuesday and every Thursday. Y'all tap in.
Is this thing on? Can you hear me?
Roy
Is
Anthony
anybody out
Show
there?
is the spot to be, baby.
Hey, tune in.
It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the homie Big Hank and Cynthia. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the co-host Big Hank and Cynthia. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. Everybody tune in, you dig it? It's funny as hell, my dude. It's when we can kick every Tuesday.
Everything is going
every
down.
Thursday.
They about to do the most. It ain't a confrontation, it's a conversation, homie.
Yo, on the weekends, the Roy Anthony Show. It's during the week, homie. The Roy
Every
Anthony
Thursday.
Show. What you listening to? The Roy Anthony Show. Come on and get a tap in before we gotta tap in. What you listening to? The Roy Anthony
Every
Show.
Tuesday.
Come on and kick it with us. The Roy Anthony
Every
Show.
Thursday.
It's going down, homeboy. The Roy Anthony Show. Co-host
Tap in.
Big Hank. We getting it. What you think? It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the homie Big Hank and Cynthia. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the co-host Big Hank and Cynthia Joy.
Do. What it do? Hey, it's Roy Anthony. Welcome to the Roy Anthony Show. This is our seventh season, second week in our seventh season, fourth show of the seventh season. That's right. It is June the 15th, 2023. I'm Roy Anthony. My co-stars will be popping in pretty soon. Cynthia Joy Towner and Big Hank Norman. And we are live from the it was created as the WO Entertainment Platform, which is mean worldwide. WO is world, and it is worldwide. It was created to bring awareness to how our veterans commit suicide on a daily rate. Active and non-active veterans. At one point, it was running at 44 a day. Here lately, I've been hearing that it's 22 a day. And we're happy to see the numbers decrease, but I'll be hoping it decreased to 0. And who created the WO Entertainment was Richie King, aka his stage name is Redneck Pimp. Matter of fact, he's running for the presidency of the U.S. I've been meaning to make sure that I can bring up he says that if you want to give a donation, anything, I'm gonna see if I can bring this up. It's right here. You hit your camera on there, on that and stuff, and go lay down. I'm sorry, my puppy has gotten active. I have a pit bull mixed with a Basker hound or whatever. He's 6 months and he's weighing 6 pounds. But Richie King is running for presidency of the United States, and he is if you want to give donations, see how legitimate it is. You can take your camera on your phone, you click this imagery, and you get all the details. I want to share that along with everybody and stuff. So, like I said, I'm Roy Anthony. Welcome to the Roy Anthony Show, the WO Entertainment, which was created by Richie King, aka Redneck Pimp, the co-creator Goose, along with our beautiful social producer Blue Phoenix, and the gentleman Ethan Daly. Then we give a shout out to our sponsor who pays for everything. You know, they call them out when there's something going on with the I'm sorry, I have a 6-month-old puppy, and let me introduce everybody. This is Rollo. he he's 6 months, but he weighs 60 pounds, and he's spoiled. Go sit down now. Go sit down. I introduced you. Go. You want to see what I was doing and stuff, and go. And so anyway, um, we've been on the subject of politics, and it's the same old politics, same old politics, same old politics. Every time I look up, it's the same stuff over and over. It seemed like since I was a kid, hearing my grandparents talk about inflation and the president this and the president that. Then when I became in high school and was in college, same thing, same thing. And now I'm grown and I'm hearing, you know, teenage children and same stuff over and over, over and over. And I said to myself, I said, they find insanity as doing something over and over and expecting different results. I I don't know how long we can keep doing the same stuff over and over and over and expecting different results. You know, it baffles me. Like, do we really? Why isn't that we don't vote to have a change? I've been seeing what gets me is when people say, "If somebody's in a crime, or they've done something, they are a country." Like, what's going on with former President Donald Trump? What's going on with you don't have nothing to do with the United States. And so, why is every time something's occurring with him, it has to deal with our country is going down or something? That's you, man. You went through that. You kept them classified paperwork and lied to them people and stuff, just like anybody else who done something and catch your cases or something like that. You put yourself in that situation. You don't represent America. You led America and as a president, but you are not American. You don't make up all. You make up one person out of the Americans, and it just gets me when I'm like, our America won't be the same. Man, come on, man. We was America before you was born, before I was born, and all of a sudden, for real, I just I never heard of Donald Trump Jr. until his dad got in there. All of a sudden, you was a big political this and that. And I at one point I just remember back in the days when he wasn't even feeling his sons. I didn't see them at none of the network programs when he was hanging out with the football players and started his own NFL league. I don't remember them there. He didn't have no love for none for him. All of a sudden, when he became the president, all of a sudden you're a spokesperson. You like, to me, rich kids. I got a lot of respect for former President Donald Trump. I respect all my elders. I'm not, who am I to call about this society when I see police still arresting blacks and Latinos for something? Oh, you see the laws change. The Supreme Court passed that we don't even have to have driver's license to drive a car, but yet you still asking me or something for a license. Which one is it? We vote just like you do. Why isn't that the laws that is passed that we voted on applies for everyone? I showed a video Tuesday of some of the things that are happening that happened to blacks in the past when we're trying to live a regular life like everybody else. They try to make it seem like, oh, we just don't care. We just belligerent, don't care, non-steering pirates, or whatever, how they try to make blacks and Latinos to be looking at. And then, I want to say this, and everybody, we weren't around when the Pilgrims came over here. But the Pilgrims were not the high echelon of England. If you look at stories from when Sherlock Holmes and all them and in the 1600s and before Sherlock Holmes, really, it was so much derelict and crime and diseases and everything that they like, you know what? Let's send these people to a whole different place. With the lie when they said Christopher Columbus discovered America. How can you, for one, we should already know how hypocritical and lying that scenario is, because Christopher Columbus records, his mapping was upside down. He thought he was going over to India for spices and ended up over here in a totally different direction and came over here and called them Indians because he thought he was in India. Then how can you sit up here and you discover the country when the Native Americans helped you to eat? Therefore, that's why they call it Thanksgiving. How are you going to discover somewhere you had to ask the natural inhabitants, could you get something to eat? The hypocrisy and the makeup of this stuff is totally illogical, and it's just buffoonery. You can see it was somebody else. Somebody said, we're going to write the laws. We're going to make ourselves look good. And then after the World War, not World War, the Civil War, and the blacks say, hey, we're going to turn in our weaponry. Ask every veteran, black veteran that comes, Latino veterans that comes out of the military, how do they, and they keep their weaponry? You cannot keep it. So there was a saying in the streets that you can't bring like if somebody got a gun and you got a knife, well, you expect to lose. You can't bring a knife to a gunfight. You can't bring bare hands. You can watch all the kung fu movies you think you want and try to catch a bullet in your teeth or whatever. Okay, at the back of your head gonna be blown out. But we look at it, and the thing is, I've heard some of my white neighbors say, man, I wonder why blacks just haven't gone. Because we believe in the democracy. We believe in peace and tranquility and freedom. Look over at the tribes over there in Africa and stuff. Now, some of them places be worn and stuff like that, but there's a lot of, and we got to remember, Africa is a continent. They have countries the size of, like, United States of America is a country. It lies in, there's 3 other parts of this continent, which they call North America, where you have Canada, and then it's connected to South America, where you got Mexico, that's just a country. You got many other countries in that part of the continent. Now, Africa being the biggest continent in the world, let me tell you, it really gets to me when I hear people try to talk like, oh, Africa is just a country, like it's this size and stuff. Man, that's a continent, and it's the biggest continent in the U.S. And your mind is made up to be small when you think that you can just look at this whole continent like it's underneath the feet of of America. White The terminology white wasn't a race. It's not a race. That was considered what we said was talking about Tuesday, that you got laws and you got penal codes. White was never a race. You was either Britain or you was Norway or Irish, Ireland, and you was never considered white until in 1661, when the blacks and whites prior to 1661 worked together to fight against the control of the British Army. And then I found that the British Army, all this time, I've been thinking that the British Army was all white. I found out that it was blacks in the British Army that controlled, while blacks and whites and Asians lived in what they called these barrack places, is barracks. All they got to do is look up the history. The whole thing was to keep us divided. Then when they passed the law, what happened is in the Macon Revolution of 1661 now, we was under the rule of the British soldiers. Britain, which means the sons of Isaac, which was all black monarchy, until they do this. The version say, hey, you know how the treachery is. You know, they did Julius Caesar like that. You know, killed the men. Somebody wants the power, took him out. Somebody wants the power, he took him out. And we'll forge up the papers and everything and make ourselves look elite. Because it's really not about race. It's really about that money. They want money and the power. And what they did was the demons said, you know what, put it in their minds, because the devils can't control you. They can only suggest thoughts. It's within your character of your being if you lean to those thoughts. The demons got in my head, you got to just choke this individual. But the characteristics of myself is I'm a rational individual, and I don't really believe in killing someone just for the hell of it. That's not, that's not a belief of mine. The demons, that's who I bring up to. Those who invent somebody, I want control. I want all the money. I want to be able to rule the world, and everything I say, that person will do. There's a difference between me and that person. Me, I'm like, hey, if you're doing well, I'm doing well. If you got something that I need and I got something you need, fair exchange ain't never been no robbery. That's what democracy was based upon. But you got treachery, low down, lazy individuals who will sit up here and destroy everything you have, or try to take. See, today we call it player hater. And it's a spirit. Somebody had an idea, someone run with it. Thomas Edison. And I read more and more about Edison. He was a crook. You steal everybody's patent. They used to call him the patent thief. But we always want to make it seem like we're so pure and innocent and all that. I'm not pure and innocent. But at least though I was able to confess what I do. The terminology white as a race wasn't established until 1661. And it took a year for it to get established because they didn't have text messaging and emails. They didn't even have the postal service. Somebody would go to a colony, hear ye, hear ye. It is now declaimed that those of Britain, they didn't want to call you Britain. They looked down and they said, we won't call them white because some other people black. We want to do it on a color identification. They called the Asians yellow. They called the Latinos red. red and brown, well, brown or something was like that because the Native Americans were supposed to have been red and stuff like that. They did this color thing just to keep us separated, which was called colonization, where the terminology of racism created so that one race can control another race with signs of oh man, I meant to say what's up, Dean Ernie. What's up, y'all? They didn't even have white bread in 1666. That's what he said. For real, we was people. If you go over to Britain, they are used to having blacks and Indians over there. You don't hear them calling them, oh, there's a black Britain. We do that here because it was inbred, because when you in servitude and you get your piece of freedom, and they said, well, we're going to give you freedom. We're going to give you more. We're going to give you some steaks and pork chops to eat. You don't have to eat the candy yams and stuff that y'all find in there. We're going to put you at the big table. Only thing we need you to do is govern these other guys. We're going to give you power and we're going to back it up. And so some of them did. I read the history of those who wrote those laws in 1661. Found out these were the guys, believe it or not, that could not get in relationships with none of the women. This is the truth. We was all living in one big quarters, the blacks, white. We was under servitude of the British soldiers. And we was learning to survive and build. So we had made up colonies. And no one tripped on who messed with who. If that woman liked you, whether she was black, white, Latino, Asian, whatever, your Mac was there, there it is. But you had some little old Dumbledore looking guys who was pale in comparison, weak. When they see them big Shock Zulus and the John Waynes and all that, and they sitting out there, and Elvis Presley type the guys, and Roy's and the Big Hanks and the Richie and Dean Cerny, and real men, the guys that was pansies. Then more of this called prejudice and division, first forms of politics, because it was a pact. You can look at it. It was a pact, and they said, the British said, all right, we're gonna let y'all come up with the laws, because only why we're choosing y'all because you look similar to us. You're not Britain, but you're close to looking like our queen. We're gonna call you white. We made a color code. If you're white, you right. If you're black, get back. That's for real. When I was a kid, they used to have this color situation. White, all right. Yellow's mellow. Something. Then black gets back. It was always black get back. So these fancy guys, first thing they're thinking is, man, so since we got the control and we got the army, this British army behind us to break up our laws, well, I ain't had no sex since we've been over here. And I think that because especially when you show the black guys and their big old wankers we can't get no help. Well, we need to make a law. Let's do the first law. That was the first law. Black men can't mess with white women. That's for real. Look it up. Then they wanted us not to ever own no houses or no businesses. That was the first thing. They had a hatred. And these was not a whole bunch. Now, there was a big argument after the Civil War. If you notice, they call it whitewashing the history. When they show George Washington on the Delaware pointing, but what they don't show is the hundreds of boats that's following along with him, which were blacks. When he said, Dean said we were actually called English back then, and that's why the Amish call us English. Okay, I agree with that. Well, I can't say we because my family wasn't even here then. And see, that's what I'm saying. See, see, what they did was to control us is to divide us. To divide us is to conquer us because we was colonized inside of each other. So then the treachery, see now, I want someone to understand this. Europeans did not go over to Africa and catch Africans. They was caught by the Africans because over in Africa, if you ever read the story of Shaka Zulu, slavery was a punishment or a penalty. Like if my colony beat your colony, we can you can be under servitude for us for 7 years, and after 7 years it was constant like this. You can go about your way or you can come in with citizenship with our colony. Well, the treachery that happens with the Europeans when it got involved with the slave trade was that they kept it generational. You kept being born because that's how it ended. When they went back and they said, well, where's the Africans there? It's like, where's our peoples? They've been gone more than 7 years. You coming back? They're like, oh, well, but man, if you don't get away from our shores, that's the truth. It was supposed to just be a penalty. When you get slaves, that means you want somebody else to do what you will to do, and with an act of punishment and everything. Then I looked at some of the stuff that people actually came up with. Some police are in a form of that, of catching slaves from running away. How you gonna say land of the free, and every time I try to run for freedom, you sit up here sicking dogs with me and hanging me upside down and cutting off someone's nuts and all that. Read the story about the Great Migration when the Great Potato Famine happened in Ireland. They don't want to, I got a lot of cool friends from Ireland. I want to go visit Ireland. The Irish folks, I drink them car bombs where you take that some little liquor in the drops pass and you drop it in a glass of Guinness beer and you drink it up. Oh, I done put them down. I done put some under the table. For real. But we had to know our history. Why when they came migrated to America, there was a great famine, the Great Potato Famine. But what I did find out is how the U.S. government, who has been practicing what they call eminent domain so much, where they can just take your stuff. It's called eminent domain. They can just take your land. Well, this is for the betterment of us having a better highway system. This is for the betterment of us being able to do this and do that and do this and do that. Who for real? They took a lot of blacks out of New York, out of their homes, to make way for the Irish people of the Great Potato Famine. You can read it up for yourself. I tell people, stop going to Google and stuff. Sometimes you have to go in the library and look up some of them books, take notes. Then they make my white neighbors feel bad and stuff. We talking about, oh, they woke. They woke about what? Because we don't want to hear lies or live by lies. It was Richie King. Dean said both of my grandparents lost houses due to eminent domain. That part, you're just taking somebody's livelihood and stuff like that. And then you don't have nothing you can say about it. This is where I get messed up. What? And then we got, okay, let me tell you something. Here in the blacks, there was a time when, I was a teenager and I would learn all these facts and stuff. And somebody else, you get to talking to them, they like, shut your mouth. This ain't the time to be talking about it. Still saying the same thing. For real. There is no, Frederick Douglass said there is no progress without struggles. A lot of blacks don't want, a lot of blacks, a lot of whites, a lot of Asians, they don't want to struggle. Ooh, it's hot out here. Ooh, I got to get in the air conditioner. Ooh, Lord have mercy. How far is that to walk? Oh, let me jump in my car. I don't eat no chitlins and stuff. I eat, fine steak and potatoes. You got comfortable. Then he said, go buy an old encyclopedia at a garage and read them. That's, man, look, when I was a kid, I read the encyclopedia from A to Z, back to A, taught myself how to play chess. Read. They said this, my grandmother said that one of the ways they kept secrets away from minorities was to put it in a book. Jealousy, the spirit of jealousy. So here, black, we can't be. I told a black person, they was like, yeah, white folks, wait a minute, white folks ain't did nothing to you. You ain't even been, you sit up here deep in the black and Latino neighborhood, talk about something that happened down in Salmon, Alabama and Mississippi and all them. You ought to be, that's where you're shamed, because if I don't progress to what my grandparents and stuff went through, and my great grandparents and before that, and I don't put it to work, that's on me. You can't blame no one in this society. DeSantis, I don't like DeSantis because I don't like people who breach this division, and I don't like when somebody say my group is better than yours. I've seen one of the actors called him one of the Grand Wizard or something, So that stuff don't fear me. You can't don't fear nobody. Only fear God, because he can destroy your body and your soul. Then said, now they're getting rid of books and telling you to go look it up online. That type of stuff, because they don't want, see, one of the things is a pattern. If you ever notice when there's theories and stuff like that, they set a pattern. First, they was making people feel bad, calling them woke. Especially to my white neighbors, my white brothers and sisters, they telling them, oh, you woke because you done found this out, found that out. What are you saying? What are you telling them? To keep it a lie? And it all comes back. What's done in the dark has come to the light. All of a sudden, former President Trump, DeSantis, I thought DeSantis was a supporter of Trump until I seen him taking these digs, and then I measured it up. And I didn't vote for former President Donald Trump. I just respect whoever got in the office. I respect that person. And I never seen former President Donald Trump fighting with Disney and calling out that black literature and everything should be out, of refusing to teach about George Washington Carver and Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King and stuff like that. I'm like, man, that is sickening. Dean said, I don't like him either. He's backed by the Bushes. And that's the thing. I don't know who, to me, like when I found out that George W. Bush was the godfather for the former President Barack Obama. I said, what the world? I seen all these pictures and all that. And I'm like, what is this? A circumvention? Those at the dinner. I seen where this is when former President Barack Obama was in office. Donald Trump was causing a lot of riff about where's your birth certificate. and a whole bunch of stuff like that he was calling out. And I've been saying all of this because you know what? It's insanity. Politics has shown me that it is all insanity. Dean is with me. Dean, right? He said that's all politics. They're playing politics. Look at Biden and Kamala. Remember when Kamala said Biden was racist? Man, look here. And she has the nerves. You can ask. You can go back and look at my studies of when I was doing my own podcast in 2009. I've been against Kamala Harris then. She was the attorney general for the state of California. Oscar Grant, a young 18-year-old who was handcuffed on his stomach and got shot in the head, she wouldn't even take the case. She put the case in, which was based in San Francisco, and sent the case to Los Angeles because she didn't want to pursue it. But it wasn't a black man that went across her court for smoking a joint if she didn't throw him in prison. She threw more black men in prison than the whole Ronald Reagan era. But our presently president, Joe Biden, wrote the crime bill. Their crime bill was that if you had a drug addiction, go to prison. Look how many private prisons became became operative ever since former President Barack Obama. Look it up yourself. People could create a prison. Me and Dean Cerny could start a prison along with Big Hank and everything, and we set up a prison that can hold 1,500 people. So we like, well, you know, we're not thinking like, well, if there's crime, you know what they asked the state? Well, we would like to have a capacity of at least 80%. You know, if we can get it right with 80%, we can, you know, we can really make something in our lives. You know, we put a lot of work in this, you know, we're construction and, you know, we built the prison and, you know, not no schools, not no job corps and all that, some prisons. And then to ask that they would like to have 70, 80% of capacity. So what do the state do? Remember we was talking about it Tuesday. It's not laws, they make up penal codes. All of a sudden, walking across the street without waiting for the sign to say you can walk, it's called jaywalking. It's a penal code. If you park at a certain way, something like that, it's a penal code. So now, you never hear about mad no more mothers against drug drivers because they got their point across. Because why? It used to be where you got the ticket, you got your license suspended, you got a ticket. Now you going to prison. That'll be your second offense. You going to prison. Oh yeah, we're going to give you 6 months. They can catch another case in there. To where all the little prisons is filled. Man, I don't feel Kamala Harris needs, man. I don't mess with it because just like she said, she had called Biden racist and stuff. Now, next thing he said, this thing, next you know, she's calling him saying, we did it, Joe, that part. She wasn't even considering herself black. Kamala Harris considered herself Eastern Indian because her mother is from India. She didn't consider herself black until former President Barack Obama's second term in office. If you ask every person, ask how many black mothers who's missing their children because of some basic weed sales, not thanks to Kamala Harris. Now you sister girl. You home girl, man, come on with that. I don't perpetrate for my own family member. I'm definitely not going to perpetrate for no stranger. Look it up yourself. I never have supported her. Not because she's black, not because she's white, not because she's Asian or Latino. I don't support her because of her inhumanity ways. I'm on your side. Then everything gets going good. I'm on their side. I hear Marjorie Green more than I hear her. He said, mad is a thing of the past. Now we have damn drunks against mad. These crazy, man. Drunks against mad mothers. Damn. For real. Everybody have all this politicking and everything. We knew that Disney was racist in certain aspects, but I don't see nothing wrong with Akula Batamba and the Lion King and all that. You know, I don't. It's children thing. I do not believe that sex should be taught to children. It should be where you're close to the rated R situation, 17 and under. We don't need no grown man telling this little kid that you really are a boy or a girl. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like when two white guys that are gay and married to each other adopting black kids. I don't like that. I don't like that they should have any kids. Because it seems to me you're leading up to pedophileness and molestation in the first place. If a single man back in the days couldn't have a sheep farm, that was real. This is true. I don't quote this stuff off the top of my head. That's what makes me a professional comedian, because I dig and I research and I make fun of it. Back in the days when sheep herders, you can look it up. A sheep herder, to be a sheep herder, had to be married, because a sheep almost have the same type of vagina type situation like a woman do. And so they would not let you get a sheep herding license unless you was married. Now I'm trying to figure out, why is it cool that especially two white guys who's married, they marry each other. Now, I'm not saying that gay just runs in that, but they can adopt a black child, especially boys. I seen this actress lady who adopts two boys from Africa, and now she's raising them up as girls. They always, this is the part that gets me when he's trying to feminize us, especially us. Like, man, ain't nobody, for real, nobody into that. A couple of weeks ago, I'm driving down Crenshaw in Los Angeles, and I happened to stop at the light, which was a block from the Fred Price Church, Pastor Fred Price, big old church and stuff. But on the fence, it was his brother, dark-skinned brother. He was darker than me, had his mustache and beard, but he had on a blonde wig and a pink see-through sweater with a bra, promoting vitamin water. Look, sometimes love for money or wants to push fame. I just found out something not too long ago. I don't want to sound derogatory. It was called cockhold. And I was like, a friend of mine was telling me how they had worked as in the porn industry it was a quick hot second because the situations had occurred. So he told me, he said, yeah. He said, man, you know what cockhold mean? I was like, no. He said, well, what happened was in this scene, there's three of them, him, another dude, and this lady. I'm trying to be as clean. So the director tells them he was in behind and the other guy's getting, you know, head or whatever. And the director tells them, okay, switch. So he goes in the front and the other guy's in the back. And so all of a sudden, the other guy in the back busts all over the lady. And they tell my partner, all right, I need you to come and it's okay. I want you to eat her outright. He said, what? So he said, oh, no, man, I'm not into that. He said, the director kept telling me, he said, come on. He said, man, you've been kissed by your father, just come on. No one's going to say, you're going to make a lot of money with this. It may seem like it's going too sad after this, but you can use some Listerine and everything. And he said he couldn't do that. But I think who would? Not me. I don't need nobody filming nothing I'm about to do. He said, I don't need those kind of vitamins. We so busy caught up on what we want, what we feel. I know there's a lot of people sometimes so unsociable. Like me, I want to go to heaven. That's why I changed my ways. I changed my ways from where I used to be. And I didn't start changing my ways right after, because I got shot or I went through other horrific situations where I lose family members to the most horrific murders. But one day I got tired of myself. Start realizing, man, every time I do it this way, I end up in the, I'm short. I don't have this. I don't have that. And everything was more, I started trying to just do it right and just say, hey, you know what? Stop being selfish, Royce. Stop trying to hurt yourself because the only thing you're doing is hurting other people. And when I started realizing that I'm a cool individual to myself, I had to realize who I am. And one of the things you gotta be is don't worry about who likes you or not. I used to get caught up on that. He said 100. I used to be caught up on why this person don't like me or why. But when I realized that I was cool and I could love myself, it made me start appreciating other people. Now, sometimes there's some of us that don't get along. I don't kick it with. It's not because of no race. One of the things if I'm going to go to heaven, I don't think there's no separation in heaven. God is a spirit. They that worship him is worship him in spirit and in truth. I don't even believe in these, a lot of these preachers. I brought my puppies down this way, and man, you talk about he doesn't know his size. He's 6 months and he weighs 60-something pounds, and he's into every single thing and whatever. But I want us to start looking like, man, then somebody say, well, what can we do? All has failed and everything. We can come together to say that we don't believe in these politics no more. We got to call the shots. I used to tell people I'm not into defunding the police. I just think that the police need to be educated before you be on that patrol on that street, you should have a associate's arts degree in humanity. That's what I believe. I could have played a lot of videos. I could have did a lot of different things today. When I think about politics, though, this one lady, she asked me up. This lady's a mad politician.
What's happening? happening, and I hope you make your decision when November comes. I'm pissed as a motherfucker. Yeah, I'ma say it. I'm mad as a motherfucker.
Hold on, Councilwoman.
I am. Because I know what's been going on. I know somebody came to my office and asked me to deal with this stuff because they've been asked to be paid
Let's take a recess. I'm going to recess this meeting right now.
I'm sick of
My mother be getting on me and Big Hank for cussing sometime. She's gonna have to go to the Capitol or to that city's Capitol building to talk to that lady. Hey man, I'm Roy Anthony. We're gonna see y'all next Tuesday. I know that Cynthia was having a surgery, I think, today. Pray for Cynthia. Big Hank is always doing something for the church. Pray for Big Hank and his family. We constantly pray for y'all. And Dean got love for Dean. He knows that on the BB Nation down in Oregon. I'm laughing because I've been seeing my puppy just tearing up stuff. I've been seeing him tearing up stuff. Rollo, come here. Come here, Rollo. He's 6 months old. Yeah, he done been chewing off on stuff. Come here. Come up here. He's 6 months old, y'all. And he's say hi to everyone. You see? Hey, check this out. I'm Roy. He's 6 months old, y'all, and he weighs 60 pounds, but he's spoiled too. All right. Get out of here. Oh, now he wants to stay on my lap. You cannot get on my lap. I'm Roy Anthony, y'all. See y'all Tuesday. Remember, if God is love, he loves us, try to do the same to each other, man, because this world is getting wickeder and wickeder, and pretty soon I think it's going to be too late. We don't want to be caught with our thanks, Dean. He's saying good show, Roy. We don't want to be caught with our slip showing. You definitely don't want to be caught like those guys who had the wine, didn't have their lamps filled up and stuff. You know, I never get. My mother said, man, always make sure you wear clean underwear when you go out. You don't want to be in an accident and you're filthy. You feel me? That goes with our moral self too. All right, God bless, man. I'm out here.
Welcome to the Roy Anthony every Tuesday and every Thursday. Y'all tap in.
Is this thing on? Can you hear me?
Roy
Is anybody out
Show
there?
is the spot to be, baby.
Hey, tune in.
It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy